Welcome to episode 9 of Discovering Nagasaki from a Local. My name is Chad, and this is where you can experience everyday life in this scenic and fascinating part of Japan as an armchair video tourist. First of all, I'd like to thank all of the people who regularly watch my vlogs. I'd also like to thank Jack Garrett for pointing out in the comment section that Myoji Temple is also a stupa. I'm trying to make each of my b-roll videos shorter than 5 minutes, so I can't mention everything in that space of time. Please feel free to mention related facts in the comment section below, or if you hear me say something that sounds inaccurate. I research my vlogs carefully before I upload them. But unlike my wife Yasko, I sometimes make mistakes, and I don't know everything. I was just kidding about Yasko. Or was I? So far, only one person was able to correctly answer last week's questions. Denise Rollheiser. The first question was, how many white chairs were there in our bakery, cafe? The answer is 12 white chairs. The second question was, how many Buddha statues at Myoji Temple were in the seated position? The answer is 2 Buddhas were in the seated position. Last Monday I uploaded a special vlog about Typhoon 10, Typhoon Haishen, which struck Nagasaki last Sunday. As you can see from this JMA image, Typhoon Haishen blew past the islands of Goto and Tsushima as it approached the Korean peninsula. 4 days earlier, Typhoon 9, also a super typhoon, swung past Kyushu in a northerly direction, but a little further west of where Typhoon 10 would travel. As I mentioned in last Monday's video, Typhoon Haishen fortunately weakened substantially in strength as it neared Nagasaki, much to the delight of everyone living on Kyushu Island. The question is, why did it weaken? It was a very rare event to have 2 super typhoons approach Japan 4 days apart, to be sure. But why did the atmospheric pressure in the eye of Typhoon Haishen rise from 915 hectopascals to 985 hectopascals in the hours before Typhoon struck Nagasaki? At the risk of sounding like Norm Macdonald, I'm no expert, but there may be a good way to explain this. After Typhoon 9 passed Kyushu, Japanese meteorologists noticed a sudden drop in the ocean surface temperatures along its path. That typhoon used heat from the ocean to generate its fierce winds. When Typhoon 10 rolled in 4 days later, the drop in heat in that part of the ocean led to a rise in atmospheric pressure in this typhoon's eye, along with a subsequent drop in the speed of its wind gusts. Does that make sense? If not, listen to what I just said once again. I think that everyone in the path of this recent super typhoon needs to be thankful that this anomaly occurred. I sure am. Actually, I'm very interested in knowing whether this anomaly explanation sounds credible to you or not. Feedback time. Let me know in the comment section below if you think this sounds like fake news or not. Even though Typhoon Haishen did weaken in strength as it approached Japan, it still did quite a bit of damage in Kyushu. For example, here is a tree that was blown over at a car rest stop in eastern Omura. It still hasn't been cleaned up, and the storm hit 6 days ago. You can clearly see how big this tree is, where it snapped, and how it is still resting on top of a large power line. This is a view of Suzuta Farmers Market, where we have been selling bread for the past 13 years. Typhoon Haishen toppled this market's large sign last Sunday. In today's 45-second kanji crash course, I want to introduce 8 more kanji particles to help you make more sense of Japanese kanji. These particles, which are found on the left side of more complex kanji, include bow, an archery bow, dog, hand, altar, robe, thread, king, and tree. Knowing the meaning of kanji particles is the key to long-term memory retention. In today's vlog, I will show you a nearby construction site of Nagasaki's future bullet train line. I will also show you a behind-the-scenes view of my vlog production setup and baking tips for prospective bakers. Let's get started. First of all, this is the action camera equipment that I use for my vlog B-rolls, a black Hero 7 GoPro camera mounted on a Hohem iSteady gimbal stabilizer. This 3-axis stabilizer allows me to shoot B-roll videos with little or no vibration, even when my arm is moving, or for instance when I'm climbing stairs. My GoPro is great for high-definition videos, but most owners quickly realize it has serious issues with its mic, battery, zoom, and processing of vocal commands. I have an external mic on my Lumix camera, but I have found it absolutely necessary to record GoPro vocals separately and after the fact with an external mic. You certainly wouldn't be able to hear my voice clearly in the B-rolls if I use GoPro's internal mic. GoPro is probably the most popular action camera available on the market these days, but it really has to solve these rather annoying issues. Technical ones that are relatively easy for them to rectify. Since I started my vlog channel, I have been using DaVinci Resolve 16 software for my video editing. I will go into more detail about this software in a future episode, but I find it to be hands down the best software available for video editing. It's completely amazing. Adobe Premiere, which I have used quite a bit in the past, is not even a close second, and I have many reasons for saying that. If you're interested in hearing these reasons, let me know in the comment section below. Now, let me switch to my GoPro camera. Here is a view of my vlog studio. For the past 10 years, this was the bedroom that all of our woofers used while they were staying with us. Now I use this room as a studio for filming with my Lumix FZ1000 DSLR camera. You can see the teleprompter that I have set up in front of it, along with my smartphone mounted below, and the external mic that is mounted on top of the camera. Although it is still common to see on TV and YouTube, it looks unprofessional if a TV or video host has to keep looking away from the camera to read notes. That's why I use a teleprompter. The Lumix and GoPro cameras that I use can both take high-quality 4K videos, even though you certainly won't need or even use 4K videos very often on social media. 4K videos require large amounts of memory, and this obviously affects the time it takes to upload and download them. That's why YouTube changed its policies regarding high-definition videos earlier this year. My Lumix camera is mounted on a tripod that sits on this bed frame. I also have 2 large softbox lamps to illuminate the room. Video quality, sound, lighting, and video editing are important considerations for vloggers like myself. I use a wide variety of GoPro accessories, and some of them you can see here. I use them in order to take all of the shots I need to take for my vlog B-rolls. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions here in Japan and anxiety on the part of our students and their parents, we haven't had any woofers in this room since last April. Yasko and I are hoping that we can continue hosting woofers sometime next year. In the past 10 years, our woofers have been able to live and work with us here in Omura. During their short stays with us, they've also been able to discover some of the many interesting venues and events in Nagasaki. Here are 4 Nagasaki venue photos on the door of this bedroom closet. Now let me take you to see this week's nearby venue. You can actually see it from the porch outside this bedroom. That's about as nearby as you can get. This is the bullet train line that will run right across Suzuta Valley towards Fukuoka in this direction, just 35 meters from this house. Construction on this train platform and tunnel began here more than 3 years ago, and according to JR officials, the train line will be in operation in 2022. About 50% of this bullet train line, which runs between the cities of Nagasaki and Fukuoka, will be underground. So a lot of tunnel boring is required for this particular train line. In addition, in order to satisfy the government and Saga, the bullet trains on this line will have to change their axle widths when they enter and leave Saga Prefecture. It's an unusual and expensive demand, and it is part of the reason why this bullet train line, which is about 150 kilometers in length, will likely be one of the most expensive bullet train lines in Japan. It remains to be seen if the new trains required for this line will be ready for service in 2022. Obviously, they require a completely new design to accommodate their special axles. Here you can see our farmhouse and a different view of the train platform that they are constructing. The tunnel that I showed you before is in this direction. Behind me, from a different vantage point, and in the direction of Isahai and Nagasaki City, is the mountain that they literally moved to build this platform. There is currently a high-speed Kamome train line between Nagasaki and Fukuoka, and it has been in operation for more than 80 years. It currently takes about 2 hours for this train to travel from Nagasaki to Fukuoka. Apparently, the new bullet train is supposed to take 1 hour and 31 minutes to travel the same distance, 29 minutes faster. I wonder if this estimate includes the time it takes to stop and adjust the bullet train axles. I am now at our bakery, and I want to show you a behind-the-scenes look at how we bake organically and how we got started as organic bakers. This is the dried form of organic yeast that we use for our bread, Hoshino Tennen Kobo. This organic yeast is made from rice, and so our bread has a rice flavor. By the way, organic yeast can be made from many things, including many types of fruit and grains. Before we can use our yeast, it needs to be diluted with water and incubated in a container, like this one, for more than 12 hours at about 30 degrees Celsius. This is the organic yeast that we use in our bread dough. We use this incubator to prepare the yeast. In our bakery, we bake about 60 different types of bread and pastries. Here's some dough for carrot sticks, butter rolls, and onion buns. Here are 4 examples of what we make in our bakery: walnut rye bread, pumpkin buns, cinnamon rolls, and cookies. Bread with regular dry yeast usually takes 3 or 4 hours to make, but our organic yeast bread takes 10 hours or more to make, and our dough requires 2 rising periods, once after it comes out of the mixer and once again after forming. Organic bread is rare in Japan, and it's sometimes referred to as suro breddo, slow bread, because it takes longer to make. Slow bread has a unique taste and texture, and so it is quite a bit different than regular bread. Many people in Japan still prefer rice to bread, and one of the selling points of our bread in Japan is that it has a rice flavor. Organic bread is more difficult to make than regular bread because organic yeast is very sensitive to heat, humidity, and pressure. Our bread is organic for 2 reasons. We use organic yeast, and we use organic produce in our bread. Organic produce like carrots, pumpkins, jute, garlic, onions, beets, persimmons, blackberries, etc. is still quite difficult to acquire in Japan, so that's why we grow our own right here on our farm. Before my wife and I started baking commercially, we used a home bakery machine like this one on a daily basis for more than a decade. These machines are inexpensive, easy to use, and they allow you to make hot bread every day with the ingredients you choose to use. Compared to buying store-bought bread, it's less expensive and easier to acquire the bread you prefer if you make it yourself. It always smells great in the morning, and it's also more enjoyable to be a do-it-yourself baker. These machines are available in most countries, and here's how they work. You put all of the ingredients you want to use in this container the night before you want it, and then you turn on the timer. That's it. There's a removable rotor at the bottom which mixes the ingredients and then kneads the dough. This machine warms up the bread just like a commercial proofer, and when it's time, it bakes the bread to perfection. When you get up the next morning, it's warm and ready to eat. Actually, I'm not sure why more people don't use them. Although these home baking machines are best suited for making bread loaves, you can also use them to make dough for butter rolls, bagels, croissants, pizza crust, breadsticks, buns, and many other things. After using a machine like this one for many years, we started experimenting with different yeasts and timer settings, and that's how we got started as organic bakers. And now for today's challenging questions. First, how many horizontal poles were on our balcony clothesline next to the bedroom studio? Second, how many faucets were there in our bakery? Please continue to support my vlog channel by giving this vlog a thumbs up and by leaving a comment, a question, and/or a suggestion below. Tell me what you find interesting about my vlogs, and if you haven't already done so and you want to see all of my vlogs episodes, click the subscribe button below. Fortunately, it's still free to do this on YouTube. Please read the updated vlog channel description below to familiarize yourself with the general format of my vlog episodes. If you want to know more about me or see my uploaded photos on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites, use the contact addresses listed below. See you next week.